Part 1. The Land That Remembered the Sun. The Nile flows like a vein of time, quiet, patient, eternal. It was here that civilization found rhythm. Every sunrise over the river marked not just another day, but another rebirth. Egypt was not built overnight. It rose and slowly, like the morning light creeping over the desert. Every grain of sand carried a story, every stone a purpose, and at the center of it all, a belief that life, death, and eternity were simply parts of the same river. The people of the Nile watched the heavens, and in the motion of the stars they saw order, a reflection of something divine. They built their lives around it, and in doing so they became timeless. Part 2. The Architects of Eternity. Long before the world knew geometry or engineering as science, the Egyptians practiced it as faith. To them, symmetry was sacred. The Great Pyramids were not built for kings. They were built for the idea of permanence itself. Mathematics was not numbers. It was prayer. They shaped stone as if it were language, communicating not with each other, but with the gods. Each line, each angle, each shadow cast by the sun was part of a message written to the universe. We still read their words, but we do not yet understand their meaning. Part 3. The Silent Teachers. Hieroglyphs, symbols carved into eternity. They look like art, but they were something deeper. A bridge between the physical and the spiritual. Each symbol held power, each word vibration. The Egyptians believed that to write was to give life. To speak a name was to preserve a soul. In modern times we read their language, but they didn't write to be understood. They wrote to remember. Their words were not for us. They were for forever. Part 4. The Science of the Sacred. It's easy to see Egypt as a world of temples and myths, but behind that beauty was precision. They studied the human body, the stars, the flooding of the Nile, all with the same devotion. Their medicine was advanced beyond its age. Their architecture predicted the motion of celestial bodies, and their calendar, more accurate than those used thousands of years later. They believed knowledge itself was divine. To know something was to touch eternity. Part 5. The Star Builders. The pyramids were not random. They were aligned with Orion, a constellation the Egyptians believed was the home of the gods. They looked up at the night sky and saw mirrors of themselves, mortals chasing immortality through structure and design. Each monument, each tomb, was both a map and a message, a way to connect heaven and earth. To them, death was not the end. It was the beginning of a different kind of architecture, one built from memory and faith. Part 6. The Forgotten Voices. History tells us about pharaohs, but it forgets those who carried the stones, the workers, the architects, the artists, the hands that shaped eternity. They were not slaves. They were citizens, craftsmen, dreamers. They built not for a man, but for meaning. When they carved a wall, they carved their lives into it. They did not know that millennia later, we would still speak their names and wonder who they were. Part 7. The Hidden Knowledge. There are things in Egypt we still cannot explain, not because they are mystical, but because they were deeply human. We've lost the patience they had, the kind that measures progress not in years, but in generations. They understood time differently. To them, the present was not separate from the past, and the future. It was something you built stone by stone. Maybe that is the secret we've forgotten. Not how they built their monuments, but why they did. Part 8. The Desert That Keeps Secrets. The sands of Egypt are alive. They move, they hide, they protect. Every uncovered temple is a whisper from the past. But for every secret revealed, 1,000 more remain buried. The desert doesn't destroy. It preserves. It watches in silence, as we rediscover what they already knew, that no empire truly disappears. It only waits. Part 9. The Echo of the Gods. Over thousands of years, the gods of Egypt faded, but their essence remained in the way people see the sun, the river, the rhythm of life. The names changed, the rituals evolved, but the question stayed the same. How do we live forever? And maybe the Egyptians answered it best. By building, by writing, by remembering. To be remembered is to never die. Part 10. The Timeless River. The Nile still flows. Children still laugh along its banks. Boats still drift across its golden reflection. The pyramids still stand, not as tombs, but as proof. Proof that even when civilizations fade, their stories endure. That wisdom can outlive the people who carried it. That sand can bury stone, but not memory. And that maybe the greatest secret of Egypt was never hidden at all. It was always right there, in the rhythm of the river, waiting for us to listen.